one-on-one with them.
What? This man, where is it? When last you went Guyana by? Uncle, when last you went to Guyana? You legal yet?
Go along inside.
You legal?
Just let me go inside, have a meeting.
Yeah, stay over, sir.
Let us stay there. The police can deal with them. They say about how they told the police to arrest Bork, and they could tell the police in New York for going to arrest them. These people are mad people. They are mad people. Imagine they're sending a call.
Here Uncle say, we grab the ballot box and run. Where to get a story from? Jack just really lied to them. I feel sorry for them.
The man is Satan's self.
It's Lucifer Mackey.
Not homosexual, what else you think he's going to say?
Stay right there.
Remove that cross so everything is nice. So you want me to put the car like right here or something like that?
Yeah, one black half me view.
The police can deal with them. Let the police and them deal.
You better find out how much of them in the legal over there. Let them check out the ID.
The American government
let them check out the
already that they're going to pick them up. Hold on. You see the Roger, you think it was too devious, but he was with them.
Imagine you out here protesting the opposition leader. For what? Like he running the country?
Who is that guy in the picture?
I set up all. Look, why they don't go home and go in the rocking chair? Telling me about Hamilton Green from since 19 how long?
And Hamilton Green is so elegant.
The country better than Lord Guyana was so nice then. Now all of a sudden they're doing the same things what they condemn Burnham for.
No, but the thing is, look at these black asses. What it is.
Who is he? That guy.
Talking about rig election and up to now you can't hear a petition. What a frighten if we rig the election and we hear the petition. The thing is Guyana where you can't protest freely and you look how they come out and protest. Look how they coming out and protest here. Watch how they're coming out and protest. Look how they're coming out and protest. But when as soon as you line up like that, they're locking you up in Guyana.
Right, let them protest.
Let the police deal with them.
I didn't see it. Even the fire.
He's moving so they can get protest. That's their right. The right that
yeah, I have a right. And I have a right to.
Come inside.
Neighbor joker. That's all the money that me work for. A 2 pound note and a guilder piece. A 2 pound note and a guilder piece. A 2 pound note and a guilder piece. This all the money that me work for.
I said money, neighbor,
money, neighbor, money, money, neighbor, money, money. I don't want you conniving money.
oh Joseph.
Well, I invoke the WPA's position that we are engaging in civil disobedience and non-cooperation with the government. And on that grounds, I refuse to participate in the interview. The question in struggle, is not personal. Whatever sacrifice as a political activist or a political leader you have to make for your people, you have to make it.
Guyana and Guyanese, at home and abroad. Tune in to Guyanese Morning Time, hosted by Kadaki Amsterdam, where the sun always shines. Guyanese Morning Time, the people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again. We rise up early morning watching Comes TV, where wisdom and knowledge, yes, it is the key. Exposing corruptions over land and sea, where the wicked politicians they try to trick me. Guyana is a land for everybody. With 6 races should live in harmony. Is one set of people getting aisle money. Is one set of people doing the thievery. Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again. This is a program that you all can see, sharing your views and your integrity. Like it, comment and share it all around. Pass it to your neighbor, safe and sound. A sad situation going on in this town. The voice of the people is getting trampled down. Out of the mouths of babes and sucklings, which has ordained me to sing. I sing Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, fooling the people. You promoting evil. Stop lying to the people. You are a part of the cycle. Stop fooling people. You're promoting evil. Stop lying to the people. You are a part of the cycle. I say Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again. They got Breakford, Bork and Mark Benchcop. David Hines and Kadaki Amsterdam. Sherrod Duncan, Nigel London. Normal Brown and Gavin Matthews. Big up Paslow Port People Governor. Simona Brooms, Robin Simpson. Hampton Green and Winston Jordan. And yes, we can go right on and on. Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again.
The relatives and friends of young Wyndham Bacchus, they deserve justice. The family, the relatives and friends of our in Boston, they deserve justice. The family, the relatives and friends of Peter Headley, they deserve justice.
And so when we say that Guyana is an apartheid state, we have the evidence to show.
Are you morning? Are you morning? Welcome to another program of Guyanese Morning Time. It is now 7 hours 20 on the 4th day of September in the year 2023. When I was growing up, we used to say, back to jailhouse. Back to school. Off they go. Our children are back to school this morning. Our teachers are back to school this morning. And we're going to talk about the government because they care. Or because they don't care. Right? That's the intention this morning. Let's talk about education, the state of education in this year 2023. Priya has finally learned, or it would appear as though she has learned her parts of speech. She says love is a verb.
Mr. Kadaki, good morning. This morning, I would like to put those MPs from the opposition on check. If they do not want to work for the people that voted for them, let them just leave and stop trying to make life uncomfortable for Mr. Norton and not cooperating with him and not doing the work that they've been put there to do and suppressing the opposition. I was listening on Friday, I think it was, to Mark program. And something that bothered me when I listened to Steve Roysdale Ford saying that he want Congress to PNC Congress urgently, and they must vote, they must have Congress to vote actually because they want Mr. Norton out and he want to run for opposition leader. Let me say something to Roysdale Ford. None of y'all in that opposition there cannot run the opposition other than Mr. Norton at this point. Okay? So people wouldn't be voting for y'all because y'all ain't doing nothing for people. You understand? You is an Armand boy, and Armand ain't showing his face, but he's digging a lot of holes to the opposition. You understand? And y'all are with him. And if y'all could refuse yourself from the opposition and let other people take the mantle, please do it and don't try to pull down the opposition. Thank you.
Well, what a voice note to start with. I was curious to know why that voice note came so early. And so I said I was going to play it to start the program. So, is that voice note going to set the tone for today's program? No, yeah, I don't think I discussed enough for now. We're going to talk about it maybe later in the program. Arby Norton and Roysdale Ford and so on. But it's a 4th of September. Our children are back at school. How was your weekend? Had a good weekend? How was your last night and the night before? Remember, I've always encouraged you that when you have your days off from work, when you have your weekend, don't sleep it away. Do the side hustle. Make some money on the side. Legally, you know. I ain't sending you to do untoward things. I'm not sending you to do things that you ought not to be doing. Right? Things that will put you in trouble. But utilize those skills that you have. Baking, cooking, decorating, whatever skills you have, use them on the weekend and make some extra money. Because we all need the extras. Right? We certainly need the extras. A couple of things quickly. Over at Kitty Post Office, I got a call at 7:25 thereabout to say that a large number of pensioners were over at Kitty Post Office and they were not being attended to. They were getting no service at that time. Added to that, the caller complained that the staff over there are arrogant. Right? They're arrogant. One will ask why at 7:25 people are calling me to complain that they are getting no service at the Kitty Post Office. Post offices, kudos to them, open at 7 o'clock in Guyana. It's the only place of work, perhaps in this country, especially public sector, that opens before 8. So the postal services are expected to start working from 7. I can tell you that. As a youngster just out of secondary school, and even while I was at secondary school, during the August vacation, as a 4th or 5th farmer, I worked with the postal service. I was a what they call you? CPA. Yes, CPA, Casual Postal Apprentice. Right? If I had followed the post office work, I would be Postmaster General by now. But anyhow, I was a CPA, Casual Postal Apprentice. So I know you got to work for 7, you start working from 7. And so it's natural that on a day like today, when it's old age pension, right? Or NIS pension, it's old age pension. The elders go out there early because they want to get ahead of the line, to get back home early, to get out of the sun and all the rush and all. You know, when you're big, by certain time of the day, you get, what's the word? Tired. You're able with the hustle and bustle at certain hours of the day. And so the elders try to get out there early so that they can get their pensions and get back home. So it's natural that at 7:25, they should have had 25 minutes of service at least. But here is an elder calling to say, listen, Mr. Amsterdam, we're out here at the Kitty Post Office and there's no service being provided to us. And there is a large number of us out here. And the staff is arrogant. Now that is one of the disgusting things. The arrogance of staff. People are supposed to be serving the public. People are supposed to be serving the elders who have already paid their price to this society. Well, they have already made a contribution to this society. It is time society takes care of them now. And so when an elder has to call and talk about the arrogance of the staff, you're talking arrogance of young people to their elders. But some people might say that as arrogance. Sometimes it is pure frustration. Sometimes that is what it is, pure frustration. But you have to understand, like politicians are supposed to have 2 stomachs. Service providers are supposed to have 2 stomachs too. Or 2 persona. You can be boiling up inside, but you must be able to smile with the public and be nice. Because you're there to provide a service. They're paying for that service, even indirectly. Is it a case that the pensions weren't transferred to the Post Office Corporation in time? Is it a state that the cash transfer or cash transport didn't turn up at the post office in time? Is money not available to pay pensions? Then be nice and kind in your explanation and explain to the pensioners. Explain to the pensioners. Listen, we know that you're here expecting your money, etc., etc., but we do not have the money in sight because the transport has not brought the money. We're expecting it to be here within the hour. We're expecting it to be here next half hour, next half day, or not at all today. And do it with a smile. You can't be aggravated when people come expecting a service that you are hired and expected to provide. Can't provide that service and they express their dissatisfaction. You can't. You ought not to be. You're vexed, you're pissed, take it up with your employers. Take it up with those who have caused the chaos in the system. You can't be arrogant to your clientele. And that's one of the problems in this country. Service providers believe they are kings, whereas it is customers who are kings. And that is why everybody complains about the poor quality of customer service in this country that they're saying is developing, is rich, and is a tourist destination, prime tourist destination. There's a serious lack of customer care in the society, and nobody is addressing that. But how can you at the same time expect, it's a double barrel gun if you want to call it that, how can you expect service providers in the public service to always be calm and smiling and provide a service when they themselves are frustrated, when they themselves are treated with arrogance? They say the fish rots from the head. And public servants have not seen any real increase in wages and salaries, compensation for services in the last 3 years. Cost of living is going up all the time. Burdens are added to them every single day. And so some people just going through the motion because we got work, because we got eat. But the work, the job, is not providing enough for us to eat adequately, to nourish our bodies, to deal with the challenges which we face with on a daily basis. And so nerves get frazzled. We always on edge because we ain't got nothing to take care of the nervous system. It might sound like a trivial matter, but the reality is nutrition is related to body functions and mental stability and all of that. So when we see these things happening in our society, they're just indicators that something is wrong. And we have to find the root problem of those things. I see somebody is saying, Audrey Brown is saying that they closed down the public service training center. Yeah, they did it. Did they also stop the breakfast program that was there for pensioners? Do you remember under the coalition, it was under the coalition that post offices were first made to provide shelter and seating for pensioners when they turn up in the mornings? I remember, I am sure I can find a photograph somewhere out there when Vala Lawrence, she was Minister of Social Services, I think at that time, was serving breakfast to the elders for the first time. Y'all remember that? Pensioners used to get breakfast. They started to get sheltered space, sheltered accommodation and seating under the coalition government, and breakfast was being served to them. Because out of the same recognition, a lot of these pensioners leave home early to get to the post office so that they can receive service early to get back home. Many of them left home without breakfast, and many of them suffered as a result of that by having bad feelings and blackout, as we like to say, and fainting spells and so on. And as a caring government, note, as a caring government, the coalition decided we have to take care of our elders better than that. And so they started providing shelter, seating, and breakfast. But there are those who will tell you that the coalition didn't care. They took away water subsidy from old age, from pensioners. Coalition didn't care. They take away water subsidy, electricity subsidy from pensioners. They will not recognize that they were incurring an additional cost monthly by the provision of those things: shelter, seating, and breakfast for pensioners on pension days. Apart from the fact that they were working, they increased the pensions, and they were continuously increasing the pensions and constantly working to make life better for pensioners. But here we are with a government with oil money now. And pensioners are complaining that they are not getting any service. Half hour after the post office was supposed to be opened and serving them. I haven't checked, but I'm almost positive that they care in PPP as they claim because we care. And like I am saying, because they don't care. I'm sure they've removed the breakfast program for the elders. Well, I am not saying I'm sure. I rather suspect that they have removed the breakfast program. And so when elders go there in the morning, they got to bear the strain until they get service to go back home and get their breakfast, etc. That's how they show they care. Or that's how they claim they care. While the coalition was showing that they care. There's a difference. I'm taking this call. Call A live.
Yes.
Yes, caller.
So they don't have any money in the post office to pay pensions. No money at all whatsoever.
And only now they're telling you that, right?
Yeah, so they know they're telling us no money.
How many persons are there?
We got about 15 people sitting down here right now.
Tell me something, sir. Do they still give pensioners breakfast when they go in the mornings to collect your money? On a day like today?
Ain't nothing happening there. And the place is dirty.
Okay.
Filthy. All right.
Thank you. So that call came directly from the Kitty Post Office. You see what I'm telling you? Experience, they say, teaches wisdom. And so I can tell you off the top of your head that most likely the money wasn't there. And this is a government that is saying that they care because they care. Because they care, they do this and they do that and they do the other. Because they don't care, pensioners can turn up and get no pension at the Kitty Post Office. And I'd like to know if we have reports of the same thing happening around the country, because naturally it is expected to happen around the country. Right? These are some of the little issues that make a difference in people's lives. But the politicians in Priya and the rest of them, Vinja and all of them, can jump up and tell you they care with photographs. I see Priya posted this morning, well, I saw the post this morning, a photograph of the East Rheinveld Secondary School, I think. Remember where they had those children going to school in tents last year? So Priya jump up and post now that last year the children were going to school in tents, and we promised that we were going to build an extension to the school so it doesn't happen in the new school year. Yay! We accomplished that. We built the extension. Despite the coalition never completed a secondary school while it was in office for 3 years. I'm saying 3 years. Y'all could argue the rest. Ask the question, how many secondary schools or schools in total were started under the coalition and the installed government has completed. But let's quickly go to Bamia. Y'all remember Bamia School, which was destroyed by fire? And statement was given a whopping multi-million-dollar contract. Statement, the boys over at Hits and Jams. Y'all remember that? After 3 years, the school is still not completed. After 3 years, all you have there are pillars standing. What quantity of the money has been paid out? The statement. We would like to know that from Priya. How much money has statement received for the reconstruction of the Bamia School? How much of it? Measured works. Did they pay out much measured works? Why is the school currently, quote unquote, abandoned? Why isn't construction continuing on the school? When can we expect the school to be completed? Y'all remember the school, Cato Secondary? Y'all remember how much money the coalition had to spend? Maybe twice as much as it cost to construct the school to remedy it? because they don't care. The PPP doesn't care about your education. Do you know that even as I'm speaking to you here, our learners, our scholars, let me call them that by the right name, because they would have excelled at the National Grade 6 assessment. Do you know that those students who were sent to President's College, who were given a place at President's College, are being asked to take a mattress to school? Huh? Yes. Among the list of things given to those students, or the parents of those students, those learners, is a mattress and a single bed. Y'all tell me. Y'all tell me, I want y'all advice. I need to be edified on this. Is it a norm for children to be asked to take what I consider long-term assets to boarding schools? Because President's College is a boarding school. And it's a boarding school under the auspices of the government of Guyana. Do you know anywhere around the world where students of a boarding school operated by the government are asked to take mattresses? You know what else is on the list? Drinking water. Bottled water. So parents are now expected to provide water. When the Occupation Health and Safety Act would stipulate that drinking water must be available for staff. And in this instance, it is expected that if you were boarding my children, the onus of providing for them in the boarding school is on you. It's like the state has given them a scholarship. So are we saying that children now have to be toting a case of water to go to school this morning, according to the list I've seen? How much care is that, Priya? How much care is that? How caring is a government that instructs parents that they should buy portable fans for their children to go to school with? That's happening at, is that East La Penitence, West Rhymeville Secondary, I think is the place. And I dare tell you, if it happens at one school, it is happening at others. How caring government do you have that tells your children, or the parents, let your children come to school with portable fans? It's an indication that there's a recognition that the ventilation at the schools are poor. And so something needs to be done about it. But instead of the government, Sitara Gyal, taking the necessary steps to remedy that, they're putting the burden on parents to buy fans for their children. Call A Live, good morning.
Good morning. You get cut off, brother.
Oh, I get cut off? But I'm not seeing that here, I wonder. Where are you, on YouTube or on Facebook?
I'm on YouTube.
All right. Have you tried Facebook? Can you go across to Facebook and let us know what's happening there? Because the numbers are showing me that I'm on. I don't know what's happening.
All right.
All right. If you're hearing me, folks, I'm sure you've heard this conversation. Indicate to me whether or not you're seeing me on Facebook. And if you're on YouTube, let me hear about that too also. Okay? Thank you very much, caller.
Will do.
Right. Facebook is okay, I'm told by Rhonda Blackman. Is it Rhonda Simone Blackman? Barbara Barrington, Facebook is okay. So we got on Facebook. But if we got on Facebook and we got knocked off of YouTube, then the strategy has changed. Right? The strategy has changed. Because the story is, I'm going on Facebook. The strategy has changed because I never really had a problem on YouTube. Good. So I'm checking YouTube to see what's happening over there with me. Let's see. There's straight. Let's see. Good. So I'm on YouTube. Most likely it's the call that I got knocked off. Oh, I'm back. Good. All right. So we're back. Good. All right. Good. Different. All right. Somebody's calling. Let me take this one. Call it live. Good morning.
Kidaki, good morning. Just confirming. I'm on YouTube. You're on YouTube clear, but we getting the white circles every now and again. We cutting off and coming on back. That's the problem.
Yeah, buffering. I was told that there's a general internet problem across the region. Or remember there was a hurricane in Florida, I think. And so I don't know if that has an impact on the quality of the internet.
Okay. But apart from the white circle every now and again, we hearing you clearly. I'm on YouTube.
Okay, thank you much. Good. So sometimes I lose my way. Where was I? Right? I was talking about President's College. Students are asked to take a mattress to school. In other schools, people are asked to take portable fans. At President's College, students are asked to take their own water. Let Secretary Gal explain that as a caring government. Because I don't know it was happening under the coalition government. I don't know it was happening under Forbes Burnham. I don't know it was happening. As a matter of fact, during the time of Forbes Burnham, everybody wanted their children to go to Forbes Burnham and Desmondite. Everybody wanted their children to go to President's College. Because those students were treated like kings and queens. Now they're treated like the devil's reject by this government. Why? Because anything that had a beginning in the PNC, Forbes Burnham, opposition coalition time is not worthy of upkeep as far as these demons over the PPP are concerned. But let me deal strictly with what I'm talking about. Them caring or not caring, because they don't care. So for you to recommend that children go to school with portable fans, you're acknowledging that there's a problem with ventilation at the institutions. You have the state's budget. You're supposed to address those issues because you're responsible for the plant, the learning plant. The schools, you're responsible for the infrastructure and service delivery. Why parents and students have to take the added burden of providing funds, acquiring funds, providing funds, among the lots of other things that they're given on a list every term? And you're all arguing that you care. What care you care, Priya? And the PPP, what do you care? Teachers are returning to school this morning. In some schools, there is no running water. Toilet facilities are still a wreck because no maintenance and upgrades were done during the August vacation period. So teachers are returning now to schools with broken toilets, no water, poor ventilation, etc. And Sitaria Gal in the PPP tells us, we care. Teachers are returning to school having been forced, and I'm saying they have been forced, to use their meager resources to provide teaching aids to classrooms that the ministry is responsible for. Because the ministry has provided no grants for the provision of teaching aids. Can you believe up to this day and age, most of our schools are open floors? There are no enclosed classrooms, especially in the primary schools. Can you believe that? But they care. You be the judge. How much do they care? How much do they care? When, leading up to local government elections, they paid out the so-called school grant as an inducement to get votes. Because when they paid it out, they said to the parents, you can use it for whatever you see fit. And now that the school term has started, parents are struggling. Their children who are returning to school without backpacks. Their children who are returning to school ill-equipped. Priya will say now it is because those parents are irresponsible. They spend the money that was given to them for whatever they felt like. But Priya gave them that instruction. Teachers haven't seen an increase in salary for how long? But they now have to provide these things that this system is supposed to provide. And they too have children going to school. So they are being taxed and whipped double. They haven't gotten increases in salaries. They have to provide material for their classrooms. And they have to provide for their own children. And we say that what? They care. You all remember when Prayer came out with that care because we care about our teachers and the costs for a photo shoot. The money provided for a photo shoot was more than the money provided for teachers' uniform or classroom assistants. Y'all remember that? But that was only the one time that they offered that subsidy to teachers, let me call it that. They never again offered a subsidy for teachers. But they care. They care about their learners and they care about their educators. I'm sure the union cares too because I have not heard anything from the union in recent times. So I want Mark Light and Coretta McDonald and the rest of you, Vanessa Kission and the rest of you over at the Guyana Teachers Union to tell us how much you care that year in, year out, year in, year out, your teachers are being abused, taken advantage of. But we're not seeing any action to suggest that you care about them. Oh, just remember what you care about. The monthly union dues that get deducted from the teachers' salaries before they even see it. That is what you care about. But is this care reciprocal? Are teachers receiving any service from you in exchange for this care of their union dues? Y'all talk to me. It's 16 after 8. The lines are officially open. The lines are opened. And I would like Priya to explain to me still why the students at President's College have to go buy mattresses. What if a family cannot afford a mattress? Call it live.
Good morning. Good morning, Kadaki. Good morning to all the viewers and listeners. Talking about the situation with the pensioners, with the old age pensioners this morning. This is another time we see where these platforms here are used whenever people are in really in dire in situations and the government is oppressing them. You've seen it with the public servants. You've seen it with small contractors, even parents in regards to the children, the situation the children have to go to school under, and these kind of things. What I'm trying to say is that we see everyone is out, they're always calling to these programs here, especially this particular program here. And sometimes, in many cases, most cases, according to my calculation, you see there are situations where we may change a little bit. For instance, like the small contractors, you talk about it, and within maybe a week or so, they got a little bit, it was small, but small contracts, whatever. Situation you spoke about roads and in certain areas, and then they started doing it, and all sorts of things you've been talking about when people call into this program here and complain about. And you talking about it, and it's getting done, and things like that. But still, we don't see these same people, and I want them to listen. All these same people who are always calling this program, the depressed people in this country, especially black folks, they have to look and realize what is going on, that this program here is standing up for them. And when this program is calling for a protest, I think we should not do our numbers or whichever protest it is, whether it's at GCOM or wherever, but we should be coming out in our numbers. And even the people in diaspora, but even if they happen to be there at the same time, they should go. I did that. So I really do think that people should not be ungrateful and just want this program here to do things for them, and they're not supporting, they're not even sharing it. And also this program don't run on water. We need the contributions, and we need all these kind of things to come into the program. So the program could continue and continue highlighting our situation and things of that nature. We could call in and get help from this program here. So but we need to help the program because the program don't run on water. We need to help with sharing the live stream, contributing monetarily, physically in certain ways, and also coming out to the protest and push back against this evil administration. Thank you.
Thank you for your call. Yeah, what people like to say, use me as convenient. How many of you have been accused of using others as convenient? Right? I grew up hearing that. You take me for your convenience. You only remember me when you're in problems. Right? But here, let me tell you something. I won't hold that against his soul. Can't and won't. I shouldn't. Fighting for our citizens must not be premised on whether or not they're fighting for us or even willing to fight for themselves. Each must do what each can.
Kakalaki, good morning. The PPP find themselves in trouble. As a government, you have to pay people to vote for you to compete in an election. That says it all. And the people be aware that they are in trouble. With respect to the education and the Queen's Royal School, the children have to bring their stuff. Priya is incompetent, and you can't get competentness from someone that is incompetent. When you look at that Minister of Education, she's a mad person. Just as if Anali is a crazy man. Nandalal is a liar and is a dunce. Jack Dew, his hands is dirty. So to summarize everything, you cannot get nothing good out of the PPP government. So, as I mentioned, this 25th election, I seen victory for the coalition, because the people in Guyana are wise, and they reject the PPP. Why the PPP are going to pay them to vote for them? So, all I see is victory. So, Karaki, thanks for giving me an ear, and you have a blessed day.
Thank you for your voice note. This is a seafarm man. He sees victory for the coalition in the next election. I see a ring-down battle for the government of this country in the next election. We'll talk about that after this voice note.
Mr. Kadaki, good morning. I'm glad you raised the pensioners. Now, why is it every month the flooding these pensioners with $50, $100, and them kind of thing with the pension? Most of them pensioners ain't got the time for stamp and count them money where they go. Now you go for change a voucher for $80,000, and they give you $10,000 in $100 and $5,000 in $50. Them nonsense though, and tell you but that's all they get. Why they're doing that?
One word. Disrespect. It's a compound word. Disrespect. Disrespect. Add an adjective before disrespect. I can't tell you what it is. It is disrespect. Across the society, people disrespect our elders. They disrespect the older folks. A young person will stand up and tell him, I don't want that. And they expect that to happen, so they will not do it to a young person. Well, she old, she must be senile. I don't know why these old people don't rest themselves. It's disrespect across this country when it comes to the treatment of the elders. You don't have to go far to see it. You see it in everybody's actions. Not like the voice note is saying, an elderly person comes to get their pension. The smaller the amount of notes you can give them, it's better for them. Because you have to count less number of notes, number one. Number two, it is less bulky, so it doesn't indicate to anybody that they might be carrying. You get somebody $10,000 in $100 bill, you're giving them a slab. The criminal element around the corner looking to see who moving with what. Doesn't know it's $100 slab they got there. You're endangering people's lives. But do people think about these things? No, man. Why we must think about it? We just going through motion in the richest
Hello, good
country
morning.
in the world per capita. Call it life.
Good morning, Brother Good morning, Brother Kadaki, and good morning to the rest of Guyana, all Guyanese everywhere. Let me say my contribution to the program this morning. It is a very disheartening thing to see that this morning parents has to be providing so many things for school. It's like if, I don't know if we have a government in place in Ghana because I mean, as you pointed out, and I contributed to the program before by saying that it's very sickening to note that the rich and wealthy country, gold, bauxite, diamond, and all the other resources, and you don't have 1 million people, and yet still you have to, parents has to find toilet paper, paint, fan, laundry detergent, and all of this. What is going on? And I sometimes I get so worked up that people be calling into the program and voicing their concern, and they're not doing anything about it. You know what I mean? You're not going to change if you keep sitting and talking. I mean, talking is good, so we highlight the issue, but then when you talk, you have to follow up. Faith without works is dead. I would be glad if we can, organize a protest at the Ministry of Education to highlight this issue, because this morning or the past week would have been a very, very hard thing for parents sending their children to school. I from where I'm at, I'm looking at them and looking at their faces and trying to get a sense of what they went through to have the uniform, something in the lunch kit and all of that. And yet still they have to find things to clean the school. This is ridiculous. And some people be saying it happened in our country. Why should it happen in Guyana? I don't give a damn if it happened in the United States or any other country. This is Guyana. It shouldn't happen here. We barely have 750,000 people. And you get so much rich resources. Everybody's supposed to be a millionaire in Guyana. I'm saying this with the wealth that Guyana has. I'm so, I don't know what to say, man. Thank you for accommodating my call.
Thank you. Sometimes I feel so burdened I get emotional. Like, right now, I just thinking about the abuses. I've heard several people say they're not afraid of death. It's old age are frightened. And when you're approaching old age and you see this kind of treatment being meted out to old people, then you really and truly got to be afraid. A thought has just crossed my mind. I wonder how many pensioners get robbed. I mean, y'all might say I'm extreme, but I'm a free thinker. How many pensioners go with short pension? Because they're not expected to count all them $50 and $20 and $100 notes in the presence of the teller, otherwise they're holding up the line. And so when they get home and their grandchildren count their money, or they decide to count their money, they realize it's short. How many times has that happened? I want some pensioners to call me and share their experiences, because I'm sure it has happened. I'm sure it will continue to happen. Imagine if the peer is paying 100 tellers and each of them gets short $1,000 by mistake. How much access that teller has to report at the end of the day, assuming it gets reported. Assuming it gets reported. Y'all think about that. So is it a scheme to get them all these small notes to cover for them? Is it? advantage could never done, and it's the poor people feeling it all the time. The needy. I tell you something. I got the utmost respect for people in general. But when I heard from a well-respected person the other day that this country is rich, citizens are enjoying a better quality of life, I asked myself if I live on Mars. I know the social sciences, when they speak of the majority. And so when we say Guyana is rich, people are enjoying a better quality of life, are we seeing a better quality of life for the majority of citizens in this country? Or is it the moneyed class, those who got access, that are enjoying these quote-unquote improvements? Yeah, you look around, you see better roads. Well, not better roads, you see roads. You see road improvement is taking place. Places where roads were dilapidated are now improved. But honestly, like Jaguar asked the Amerindians, or told the Amerindians, y'all can't roads and bridges. Who benefits to the greater part from those roads and bridges? The money class, those who got fancy vehicle to drive. The moneyed class, those who have commodities to transport from point A to point B for the purpose of commerce. How much benefit is the ordinary man getting out of these so-called improvements? Call A Live, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon. I would say everything you're saying, it is so true, but now with the schools, I am glad that I don't have school-age children, because let me tell you something, Kadak. I would not have bought a fan to give no child to take to school. Now, say my legal fan. And me ain't gonna left me self-fund on for school. Now, why I, as a parent, must provide salt soap or soap powder when I gotta wash my children's school clothes when it get dirty? The teachers don't wash that. And parents have got to come to the full realization. Some things are over the mark. A fan, salt soap. I would provide my children with toilet paper. I would have provided that. I would provide water, because it does give the children water. But some of the things they are calling for, it's way over the map. And when you study the teachers who work for the election, they have plunged this country to the point where it is some of them as POs. Because when you go to GCOM and you apply, you got to put your occupation. And once you are teachers, top of the class PO for you. We had a situation at one of our poll stations years ago. They gave the PO was a teacher, a ballot box clerk was Mr. Derek Cummins, and the teacher didn't know her work. That was stress. And when you study this election, you got to study men. Now with the people and these things with children in these boarding schools, you know what? I like to learn. And if something happened one time, it happened a second time, like in Majo, I, as a parent, would have studied quite a lot to send my child into another boarding school, because the same people who are here with the Maja fire, they are still in charge of the educational facilities. So those parents, when anything happens, you ain't praying for that happen, heaven forbid, they're going to be screaming. And if something like that happens at another boarding facility, I am telling you, Kadaki, I don't care who side bad, I will not be sympathizing with anybody. Because if you see something happen one time, two times, why are you encouraging it for a third time? Now coming to the pensioners. I am a pensioner. And I could remember the first time when I went to the post. Because when they go out there, they will meet friends. Sometimes they're in a home setting, maybe them alone. Sometimes they got children and grandchildren with them. And those people don't have no kind of connection. They don't involve these people. When you meet a certain age, they cast you aside. So when they go out there, they look for that kind of inclusion, and they're very noisy. And you as a public servant, I was a public servant, and I had many problems like passage to me children. And the first thing we were taught in nursing, that you leave your problems at the gate. But many of these public servants go with the problem and they transport it to people. They don't care who the rat fall on. Now you are saying that lots of teachers calling and begging you for donation for this. Kadaki had to talk truth, the facts. You had your birthday in July. You said, well, look, this birthday, blah, blah, blah. I went to that birthday, and the teachers who are calling, I am quite certain, none of them remembered you with your birthday. They could have come to you, Kadaki, and said, Kadaki, we want to support you, but we can't make this thing because X, Y, and Z. And I quite certain the person that you are, Kadaki, you would tell them, come true, come. That's on me. I know you, Kadaki. You would tell them come true. But none of them, many of them, didn't go there. But now they want this. And them same teachers and many of the parents are like Jamzon. They went. All the different things, they went. Them in studying. You got to put your money where your mouth is. You got to give help. Some days you got to think, I just try and come because you know why, Kadaki. I know in my time of need, Kadaki. I don't care who wants to say what. In my time of need, if I say no, Kadaki, blah, 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 blah. You don't say, Randa, hold on. Something got to happen. And something does happen. And if we got somebody like Kadaki fetching me burden, doing all what you're doing, you're running here, you're highlighting, you're running there, you're highlighting. You're putting your life at risk. And then you got things. People ain't coming up for shore you up. People ain't coming for give you strength. But the slightest thing, they're calling Kadaki. Why y'all know that? Jesus only born one time. We waiting for him to come a second time. Kadaki is not Jesus. And if you can't put your all shoulder and brace Kadaki, Kadaki, I know you're going to vex. Don't stress out Kadaki. We you bracing Kadaki need his guidance. And when Kadaki said, this is it, come up and help. Don't only come when you see the fish down cook and clean and cook to eat. Come and help bait the hook so we could catch more fish. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you for your call. The lines remain open. 6225923 is the number to call. I don't want this to be about me. I don't want this to be about me. As old people say, I buy my daughter can, I gonna wear them.
Good morning, Mr. Amsterdam. Thanks very much for everything that you're doing. Guyana is one of the poorest country in South America and the Caribbean, and it should not be so, because Guyana have a lot of natural resources, but the poor people in Guyana are suffering.
We'll return to the voice note. Call your life.
Hello, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
This is Flat Garden. Good morning to you and all my black brothers and sisters. Vandalane, that's why I love you. I love you so much. Because you went to the same university, Flat Garden, went to look, listen, learn, and then talk. Yes, Mr. Amsterdam asked for support. But I bought 2 tickets for 2 teachers. And they never turn up. I bought 10 tickets. That is what you call support and unity. I bought 10 tickets and support Mr. Amsterdam because we know he program is very intelligent. He programming smart. He program is a wise program. That's why he will always be number 1. As long as Flash Garden alive, I would always call it out. Let me repeat myself again what I said last week. The wicked Crowley government in Guyana and the wicked police supporters them, the 85% of them, they got an edge along them. The word edge come from the Bible. And them hedges is not from God, it's from we own black people. Them is the edge where the wicked government get to the black people. And who is part of the edges? The teachers union and some teachers them. Nurse union and some nurse. Police and the top branch them. The army them. Them are Jagdio, them hedges. Not from God. And the minute you see them, all of them we move, including that MP, that McDonald, what's your name? If them remove the edges from them wicked police supporters and them wicked police government, they will respect black man and black man will get that oil for drink too. But oh no, they protected these school people day and night. If the children them affect, teachers will be affect in the school building. Why the police? Why this the teachers union ain't doing nothing about that? Them supposed to make sure water, flush the toilet and everything for them own teachers them, but they're not doing that because they're getting a paycheck separate from Jagdio basement. That make them giving Arby Norton basket fish water because Arby Norton, all of them who taking checks in the night, you know them. But I still believe that the coalition, WPA and PNC will win the next election. But it will not surprise, let me say this here, it will not surprise me for the wicked government and some supporters go in schools and hospital and shoot up black people, children on the mall. For start something, for them call off the election because they want to complete and they will drain that money out from the bank every time and every coalition there with zero and then they go stand up in parliament. What are you doing for your people? Black people, it's coming soon. Are you look out? Because number one, I Flat Garden could remember when them just take office, them dirty police supporters, they go for kill them black children inside school bus. Number two, them dirty supporters go in school compound and tell them black children teacher, this school belongs to Koli people. Black man must come back here. And the teachers union in do nothing about it up to this day. Them liar in do nothing about it. And we see one young liar, he do nonsense. I lose respect for you. Don't do nonsense. Don't be smart, be wise. Show yourself in front of car. Blah. Oh, run me over, kill me. That is nonsense. My black brother, nonsense. But the devil can love you because the devil will conquer the car and run over you. What your family going to say? These are the type of people that we got. Black people is them causing our own punishment. Them assisting the Kodima for punishment, especially them MP on programs. Or they just pray for the Duffy government do arm to black people come and make money and beg for money. What the man in the wing? He gave a 20 office set up for begging money, and he gone to the United States of America, where Flash Garden never went yet. Down south and North Carolina, and I drive and expose before he then Guyana for help for fight as a opposition leader MP. Majority MP is wasting Guyana, and Abinati should look them and don't give them no kind of pose, because them is not with you, Abinati, not with you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for your call. Back to our voice note.
What are the government doing with all the money that they are getting from the oil resources and other resources? They are living the wealthy lives and forgetting the poor people. Why should teachers have to furnish things for the students learning? Why should parents be responsible for water, fans, and etc.? What happened to the government? What are they doing with the people's money? What are they doing with the people's money? You know, and Guyanese should stop talking, and start acting. Protest. There's so many people from the opposition that voted. I voted too, but I don't live in Guyana. Go out there and protest. Don't sit down and talk all the time, or things will continue the same.
Thank you for that voice note. I'll tell you something. Rhonda, I acknowledge all that you said. I don't want to dwell on me. I don't dwell on me. I don't like dwelling on me. It makes me very uncomfortable. But I acknowledge all that you said. The University of Ghana reopens today. The majority of classes are online. That has been so for quite a while. Those of you who have children going to university now, have you seen your invoices? Have you examined your invoices? University of Ghana at least one invoice that I have seen as a utilities fee of $50,000. Yeah, $50,000 utility fee for students. Facilities, yes, that's the word, facilities fee. No, I have online classes, I'm using my facilities at home. But I have to pay the university $50,000 as facilities fee. People will tell you across the world, maybe you have to pay facilities fee, yes. But can you remember this wicked and covetous and vindictive and corrupt and apartheid-like government promising free university education or a return to free university education? Was the coalition government moving in that direction despite the fact that they hadn't oil money? Were there undertakings that they were going to get to that point when they start getting oil money? Has the PPP made any effort to reduce the cost of education at the University of Ghana for Guyanese citizens, given the fact that we're now pumping oil and according to the World Bank and others, we are the richest per capita? Everybody is talking about the riches, the wealth. But are the ordinary man and woman feeling the impact of this wealth? Those are the issues I want us to analyze, and those are the things I want Priya and the likes to respond to. Morning, neighbor. Morning. Are you morning? Welcome to another program of Guyanese Morning Time. It is 7 hours 31. 29 minutes to the 8 o'clock hour. Those 8 o'clock workers should be close to work by now, right? You know, there's a saying we have, I learned in Kiswahili. You know what's Kiswahili? Kiswahili is one of the African, one of the languages on the motherland. Kiswahili. Some people just call it Swahili. Kwenda pole pole. Kwenda pole pole. Go slowly, go safely. And then here in Ghana we got something that says, Unaga foot go before. Unaga foot go before. It simply means if you're slow, leave early. If you are slow, leave early. And so if you expect the rush hour traffic is going to be crazy as it is in the mornings, leave early. Thank you, Marilyn. Some days I just feel like dress up. I don't ever dress up steady. But clad does make anything look good, eh? Yeah, be careful how you like will look good in clad. Koshet and I wrap up in clad is look good. That's why a lot of your politicians use the most expensive suits and so, you know. Right? Because clad does make anything look good. And you know, that's an aside. Yeah. Unaga foot go before. If you expect the rush hour traffic is going to be mad, then leave earlier. You must know your travel time from, let's say, Buxton to Georgetown on specific hours of the day. And so plan with that in mind. In that case, you don't have to be rushing down the road. You don't have to find yourself in a fender bender. You don't have to be another road casualty. Or you don't have to create another road casualty. Right? I see the slogan now is respect the road. I don't want to respect no road. Roads don't die. People die. So respect life. Respect life. Put back all the C's in driving. Hey, Guyanese throw away all them C. I don't know which one. The only C them was they got in the 5 C's. They throw away all the 5 and they create their own one. Carry on. Carry on at your best. Right? So let's take stock of our driving. Let's take stock of our commuting time and plan according to that time. And so that we don't have to be rushing because we might kill somebody along the way. And that can be the intent. Good? So don't respect the road. Respect lives. Remember care, caution, consideration. Right? What's the other two? I can't remember. But I think once I get them three, I could. Care, caution, consideration. Right? Good. Y'all put back the C's, man. Y'all just throwing them out. How have you been? How was your yesterday? Make some money last night? I hope you did. That sounds bad. I hope you been. Oh, Laroy! That sounds bad. I hope you made some money yesterday. If you're a night worker, I hope you made some money last night too. Or if you're utilizing your after work time, after you don't give the government your 9 to 5, if you're utilizing that personal time to do business, I hope you made some money. At the end of the day, I hope you made some money legally, ethically, right? You know, sometimes you say things and then when you reflect on them, you ask yourself, what really are you saying? Right? Thanks, Leslie Williams. She said courtesy and common sense. Right? But common sense is too common, you know. So that's why I get so much problem on the road. You expect people to get common sense, but they ain't got. I'm driving straight down the Church of God Road this morning. An adult driver is facing me. I'm sure he saw me approaching. And the man reversed across the road. He's one of them drivers that can tell you reverse back. You got common sense. What do? Cross up and go on like you didn't go create road rage? I had a good smile for the morning. I say, I got a lot of mad people on this road. Always remember that. Keep that in mind. Got some talking about you making some money. You earning your keeps, you getting by. Good? Legitimately. Whatever you see as legitimate business, so long as it doesn't put you in harm's way, excuse me, or in the hands of the police, I encourage you. Give it your best shot. Right? Alan, thank you, sir. Good? Yes, I promised yesterday I was going to address that voice note. Putting all the MPs, I think the notice said MPs on notice that if they don't want to work for the people, they must vacate the seat and so on and so forth. And attacking, well, don't let me say attacking. Calling out Royce Ford for saying that Congress must be held and he wants Congress to be held, and so on and so forth. Sometimes we deal with issues too emotionally. Sometimes we deal with issues too emotionally. And that is why I always say, don't allow other people to control your emotions. You must control your own emotions. Right? Sometimes we have to take a step back, think, put everything in context, and then speak. As we used to say, I was told while growing up, put your brain in gear before your mouth in action. Right? Shazim, we're going to talk about it just now. I got presidential hopefuls intentions. What's wrong with you? Yeah, we put things in perspective, take a step back, and then respond. Disclaimer. I did not hear what Royce Ford said on the interview with Mark Benshaw. I didn't hear. I didn't listen. A lot of you might be surprised at the fact that I don't listen to a lot of things. And it is not that I despise anybody or anything, but I choose not to listen to a lot of things so that I can maintain my sanity and my objectivity. Good? I don't like go by what somebody say. Somebody else's opinion. I like to form my own. And that is why you can always find me outside of the box. Or most of the times I'm outside of the box. Sometimes I am crude because I choose to be crude. Because that is outside of the box. And that will get the job done. So let me be a little crude. According to responding to this voice note. What double standard? What double standard? And that's ambiguous. What double standard? So let me put it in context. It is double standard for the voice noter to be calling on GCOM for free, fair, and credible elections, for timely elections, GCOM / the government, for timely elections, for free, fair, and credible elections, for the democratic process. To function. It is double standard for us to do that. Because when it comes to our party structure, we don't want that done. You recognize what I'm saying? You recognize what I'm saying? That's double standard. We can't be calling on national government and national structures to do what is right in our eyes in the democratic process. But when it comes to our political institutions and other institutions, quite frankly, we don't want that same democratic process to have its way. So it's double standard. For us who are calling for it nationally, for the voice note who I know is calling for it nationally, for Rosedale Ford, for Aubrey Norton, it's double standard for a whole lot of us. But I'm going to point out another example of double standard in this situation. Like I said, I don't know what Rosedale said. But for my own meanderings over the years, I have my own understanding of the situation. A lot of us like to jump ahead of things. And I'm saying this, it will be double standard of Aubrey Norton. If he doesn't hold Congress when it is due, because he fought tooth and nail to get Granger to hold Congress when it was due. All kinds of excuses were made, COVID and so on and so forth, and Aubrey Norton fought tooth and nail until eventually Congress was held and he was elected. So for him not to do the same thing that he was fighting tooth and nail for Granger to do is double standard. The question is this. Did anybody hear Aubrey make a declaration as to whether or not Congress is going to be held when it is due? It's a question I'm asking. I haven't heard the answer. I have not heard. I personally have not heard. Did anybody hear? If you have heard Aubrey Norton saying that Congress is not going to be held when it is due, then by all means call him out. Call him out. Because democracy must function, must work. And if he stood for democratic principles and norms when Granger was leader of the party, he must stand for it now that he is leader of the party. And so Rosedale is making an allegation that he's not going to hold Congress because he has made this declaration. And Rosedale is insisting that Congress be held. I stand with Rosedale. Congress should be held when it is due. It's democracy we're talking about. And if you can't respect the democratic processes in your political party, what guarantees do we have that you're going to respect it in national government? And so it's an opportunity to show that you believe in democracy and you will respect the right of every individual
every player in the democratic process. So like I'm saying, if we heard that declaration that I ain't gonna be holding no Congress. In fact, I might even change the constitution and say no Congress should be held while I'm alive. Then by all means confront it. But if you haven't heard that declaration or you have no evidence to say, well, this man is not going to hold Congress, take many seats. Relax. Chill out. And those who heard this interview and getting anxious, step back. Analyze this situation, put it in context, and save your energy if it is making sense. But here is another angle I want you to look at. If Aubrey Norton were to make a declaration today that Congress will not be held when it is due, don't jump into a frenzy. Don't get anxious. Listen to the reasons brought forward. Like I said, I like to be outside the box. Listen to the reasons brought forward. And then ask yourself, are these credible reasons? Is he right? Is this the current situation? Can we get it changed in time for Congress? I'm encouraging you to do that. Because I can tell you all something. A board tell me that the PNC broke. A board told me that the PNC is broke. They ain't got no money. And Congress is a big money thing. And so if you ain't got money, how you hosting Congress? And so let's talk about some double standard. If Rosedale Ford knows who is responsible for the PNC being broke, and he's staying quiet and calling for Congress to be held without money, that's the double standard. He should call those people who are allegedly responsible for the PNC going broke. So everybody has roles and responsibilities. Everybody has right. Everybody has right to partake in the democratic process. We also have responsibilities to hold our leaders accountable. Is it true that that's so big a question. A question that there's so many answers to. Is it true that there has been mutiny in the PNC? And so the people who had a direct line to those who control the string purse or the purse strings of the PNC have told them to disconnect the string? So there's no money for Aubrey Norton to do what he is supposed to do as party leader? So if you tell the people, hold back the money, don't give them no money, how are you going to ask them to hold Congress? I'm just asking. I'm just asking those questions. Remember, I will always remind you, because I ain't waiting for nobody to tell me. I'm not PNC. But I'm a Guyanese, of Afro descent especially. And the PNC is the biggest political party which claims to represent us. So I got to comment on the politics. So all I'm doing this morning is encouraging you to examine this thing from all angles. Did Aubrey say he will or will not hold Congress? No, I've not heard any declarations. If he is to declare he is not going to hold Congress, there must be a reason. What are the reasons? Are the reasons legit? Can they hold water, as we say? If they can hold water, then by all means. But if they can't hold water, then by all means too. Ensure itself. Right? Like I say, I heard there's a mutiny. And I said it months ago or weeks ago on this program. We African Guyanese, black people, outsource to fund our politics. The Working People's Alliance right now, WPA, is asking for your financial contributions, human contribution, human capital contribution, vehicular contributions, all kinds of contributions towards its campaign fund. I'm repeating that call. The Working People's Alliance needs your assistance to wage its campaign. I've been asking for commitments. I can tell you I have not received 10 commitments via my WhatsApp recently. Dr. Hines says the party is looking for 200 regular committed donors, monthly donors. I'm not sure we have 20 as yet. 1/10. Right? But back to the issue at hand. We as a people, we have to understand that unless we are funding our politics, we will always be second. We will always be the runner-up. We will always be starting later than is required. You need an explanation for that? It's simple. If you have to depend on another man to eat, it's likely that you will eat after the other man. Ask the men in the houses against the man of the house. Right? If you have to depend on somebody else to eat, it's likely you will eat after them. And so let me give you a scenario. Over the years, the PNC has become dependent on large business people in this country for its campaign financing and so on. Who are the large business people in this country currently? For the greater part. Indo-Guyanese. Where's their allegiance? To the PPP. Who is the PNC trying to put out of political power, out of government? The PPP. Will these large businessmen give money to the PNC to get rid of the PPP to whom they have their allegiance? From whom they are receiving unheard of benefits? No. What they can do, or many of them will do, is hedge it their bet. Boy, we don't know what the possibilities are, especially that democracy is for sale. The possibility is that the US is going to just show the PPP and put in the PNC. So let us appear to be friends with the PPP, with the PNC. When we give 100 million to the PPP campaign fund, we will give 10 million to the PNC campaign fund. Knowing that 100 million gives the PPP a better chance of winning the elections. And a 10 million lessens the chances of the PNC winning an election. Let me give you another reason for that investment. Because we are the financiers, albeit at a minimal level, we get to call some shots. Who pays the piper calls the tune? And so since we are big businessmen on Regent Street and we giving them a $10 million towards the campaign fund, we get to tell them no protest in the city. Especially no protest down Regent Street. And so protesting down Regent Street will send the strongest possible message to the government and its handlers and its friends and the international community. Then we just took that wind out of their sail. They can't protest down Regent Street because we are dangling our $10 million contribution in front of them. If you come down Regent Street, we can't give you this because it's going to affect our business. But when we crowdfund, when all them little black boys and black girls come and put a $10 in the wheelbarrow, for us to accumulate it to hundreds of millions, to fund our campaign. We in charge. If the big Indian businessmen down Regent Street give, is because they want to be a part of the thing. But we controlling we thing because we got we own money to fund we thing. We have to start to develop that attitude. But a whole lot of us are comfortable sitting back and saying, yeah, they must do this, they must do that. How they doing it? What are they doing it with? Where are the resources to do it? Yeah, my child must be well fed. When I come in this house, I want steak. But you ain't providing shrimp money. So if you come and reach steak, you gotta ask yourself who wagging the tail of the dog? Or the dog, who running things in this house? Because I ain't provide steak money, but I eat steak. I might be the man in the house, but am I the man of the house? There's a difference. There's a stark difference. Understand that? So yeah, Congress must be held. Who funding it? We must protest down Regent Street. We want 10,000 people down Regent Street. Who funding the transportation and other provision of other support systems for the day or days that it will take for such a protest to have an impact? You ever stop and ask yourself why it is the PNC, for example, does not protest every day in the week? Because to protest every day in the week means you have to provide transportation every day of the week for some people. You have to provide refreshment every day of the week for the protesters. You have to pay sometimes your security personnel every day of the week. And so it adds up. And so if we don't have the resources, if they don't have the resources, how can we be calling on them to protest every day of the week, but we ain't putting nothing in the kitty? So I'm summarizing. Why is therefore got a right to call for this democratic process to work? Because if we're calling for it to work nationally, it must also work in our political organizations. But until we hear a declaration from Warren Norton, we don't have anything to stand on. Whether or not Congress will be held or not held. And when we hear that declaration, we must listen to the reasons behind the declaration. And assess those reasons and come to an objective conclusion. And then chart the course forward. We must recognize that what we want out of the system, we're going to get dependent on how much we put in. And if we're depending on other people to fund our political campaign, to remove a government that they are in allegiance with, we're wasting time. We are wasting time. Keep that in mind. It's an inadequacy in our thinking. It's an inadequacy in our actions. We are inadequate as an opposition. There are many reasons for that inadequacy. We can start to address them. I'm sure I've identified a couple. There's inadequacy in leadership all across this country. That is why we have so many problems. It was drawn to my attention the other day. Yesterday, to be exact. Part of the reason, a suspected reason for a lot of bangarang and pote in these ministries is the fact that the permanent secretaries have been moved all around the place of ministries that they have been and had the institutional knowledge of. Why do you think they call them permanent? Permanent secretaries. They're supposed to be tossed all over with the wind. Because you represent the legal administrative head of the ministry where you're appointed. And by virtue of the fact that you're the legal admin head, and you supervise, you overlook, you manage the day-to-day operations of those ministries, and you've been doing it for years, you become the institutional knowledge of that ministry. And so when you take a permanent secretary that was functioning at the Ministry of Housing for 40 years, and you toss them into the Ministry of Amerindian Affairs, they don't know nothing but indigenous culture or the needs of the indigenous community, etc. The practices, the norms, chaos gonna happen. Likewise, if you take the man from culture, having served culture for 40 years, and you dash into public works, he ain't got a clue of what is required to man that ministry in a competent way. Many will argue that, yeah, as a permanent secretary, it's the same rules governing them. But do you have to have the same expertise to manage people as against infrastructure? Inadequacies. That's why we got so much chaos. You take a square peg and put it in a wrong hole like Priya at the Ministry of Education. Priya never stand in front of blackboard to teach little ABC. She never went through the education system. I don't think she has ever been friends with education. All she brings to the ministry is political power. And by sticking her political finger in everything administrative in the Ministry of Education, she's making a mess of it. But she is inadequate. It took her more than 5 years to know that love is a verb or to learn her parts of speech. What other evidence you want? Unless we want changes, we have to be prepared, if we want changes, to do the work, the grunt work. I want changes, and that is why every day I'm here. That is why every opportunity I get, I highlight things. Because I want changes. And so when Rhonda and others, like Rhonda said yesterday, with all that Mr. Amsterdam is doing, they don't seem getting the support and so on. Trust me. I welcome the support. I would love to have more support. But with or without the support, I'll continue to do what I can do. Because I want change. I want a better Guyana. And for as long as I have the breath of life, I will continue to work towards contributing to that change. Would it be easier if more people do it? Certainly yes. Will I stop doing it if others don't join? No. No way, Uzi. With that, let me remind you that there is protest in front of GCOM today. The usual 11:30, 12 time. Go there and support it. Go there and support it. Show that you want changes too. Like Rosedale Ford is calling for Congress to be held. Ask Rosedale Ford to join the protesters out there and call for a clean voters list and biometrics. Ask Amanza. Ask Coretta. Ask all the politicians, all the MPs to go there and join the usual protesters and choose this. And continue to call for the democratic processes to work. It's not only in the party. Democracy in the party is not going to guarantee us democracy in the country. But we want democracy in every institution. That's my position. Now let me answer an important question that was asked this morning. Why don't I run for president? Was that a question? Or if I would like to run for president, which one? I would love to be the president of this country. I think I told you what my manifesto will be. More than 2 years ago, I told you what my first actions will be if I were to be made president of this country. And so that you're going to hear it for the first time if you didn't hear it before, and you're going to be reminded now if you heard it before. The first thing I will do is wipe off the debt of every single Guyanese citizen, every domestic user of electricity and water in this country. Wipe out the debt. Make them start from zero. Because up until now, I'm not convinced that these utility companies have done justice to any citizen in this country. That's a show of goodwill. Citizens, you will pay for utilities, but you will pay for it when it is properly accounted for. When it is properly provided. And so all of them, the utility company got in hundreds of millions of dollars and so on. Whoops. Zero. And so we will sit with the heads of these utility companies and have them fix the system so citizens can have provision of proper services. And then we're going to talk about charge. Because guess what? The citizens' taxes are being used to subsidize the utility companies anyhow, right now. And so let government continue to subsidize them and fix it, bring it to a place where citizens can pay for it and feel comfortable paying for it. First act, whoops, zero. The next thing big on my agenda is constitutional reform to ensure that politicians who prove to be corrupt can go to jail without all the hassle. That would be an incentive for me not to be corrupt because I know the law say I can go to jail, president or not. Those are two big things on my agenda. Free education from nursery to university is right up there because I think Guyana has the resources, especially now, to afford every child, every individual, every citizen a quality education without fear nor favor. We get oil money. I must take into consideration the Clive Thomas and WPA recommendation. At least $5,000 per household. This ain't got nothing to do with race, it ain't got to do with color, it ain't got to do with politics, it ain't got to do with religion. Per household. Once you have established a household in this country and you're Guyanese, at least $5 million per household. Or whatever is possible at the time of me being president. Because all of them crooks in government tell you, we can't give every Guyanese household $5 million. But they're not telling you if they can give you 500. Honest politicians, they come far and wide. Every blue moon you might find one. Will say to the people, listen, it's a good recommendation, $5,000 per household. But with the current level of production, we cannot sustain $5,000 per household. We can, however, sustain $500 per household. And we will increase it incrementally as production increases. But these jagabats complain straight and tell you what, we can't pay $5,000 per household, and we will never be able to pay $5,000 per household, so you will get zero. So you want the possibilities of those things that I offer? Let's go. I'm ready to be president. Let's go. I'm ready. The lines are open. 6225933 is the number to call. Let's talk the thing. I understand the pensioners at Kitty got a pension close to 12 or after 12 yesterday. That's when the money arrived. That's another agenda issue, manifesto issue. Agenda issue of mine. Senior citizens must be taken good care of in this country. They have already paid their dues. Why do we all treat them like that? Because, well, we didn't think we can get old. Well, with the way things are going, a lot of us may not get old, but we still got to cater for getting old. Because we don't control that. The Creator does. Call A Live, good morning.
Yes, good morning. First, let me always ask, can you hear me clearly?
Yes, caller.
Okay, this is Flash Garden. Good morning to you and all my black brothers and sisters. I will jump right away. I like how you handled that situation with Ryden Food and what he said. I see the video of Mark because I don't interest in the mark. And he's right. If my leader had been not insane, when he refused not to, then we should hold him accountable. But Ryden Ford, my brother, if you're listening to Flash God this morning, stop your nonsense, my brother. Stop your nonsense. Wait to turn. Every man is in a line to receive whatever God has for them. You make a mistake, you get caught by gossiping by your own party. Then you get come back again. And why these things have to be marked? You see, black people in Guyana and America, I beware of mark, you know. Mark into this program things for money and for destroy our leader. Abinati is our Lord. David Prasad, Granger Prasad was on his program couple days ago. Why did not ask him them question that? Why Mark did not ask Brave why he see 47 bags with garbage inside and still give up office? Why Mark didn't ask David Green on his show a couple days ago that, look, man, why you destroy the Constitution and bring your own law to please them dirty collie in office? What's wrong with these MPs them fighting down Arby Norton? It's Arby Norton time. Leave him alone. It is so shameful and disgraceful for them. Everybody, and Mark always bringing people on his show. That's why I love this show, because you will not allow us to come and talk nonsense on your show. Mark always bring people for disrespect Arby Norton. Mark don't love Arby Norton. Therefore, if Mark don't love my leader, he don't love me, Flash Garden. So why me must love him? Mark have to stop that nonsense. Stop bringing on people for destroy PNC party. What happened to PNC? Like you remain there. Let Ryden Ford take it up. Call a meeting and take it up. But let me say, Granger, have his own group MP. Them young MP. Arman Prasad, Dornam Sonila Prasad, all them have them own against Abinat. What's wrong with you guys? Let me move on. This word, I love these words. The stone that the builder rejects does become the head cornerstone. You know why I'm saying this morning? Somebody have to stand and turn the page. Flash Garden going to turn the page. WPA become the head cornerstone today in Guyana, where a lot of black people reject them and run over to AFC. Don't cut me off, I ain't finished yet. And look what AFC done to black people in Guyana. AFC. Number one, I could remember 2011 election. After that, Jaganson came out as a plane. He called Stratman Judas. Because when Stratman AFC for joining with PNC that year, that election time, for knockout Dagdo, we walk away. Number one. Number two, look what AFC done. Sharadas. Look what Sharadas done to black people today in Guyana. Come from AFC. Number three, listen what what the can said. Left for me, left for this pretty man, I would have stayed with coalition, but is a board. In other words, 95% of AFC board is black. He separate is a black man then vote for left left the PNC party, the coalition party. You saw how Alan Coley was so black man and black man I realize and get to. WPA would have never done that. Look at WPA action towards black people today. Look at the program today. As the word of God, David said, Lord, if you wasn't on my side, something like that. If you was not on my side, he even said, man, people that destroy him. And if WPA was not on black people's side today and the countryside today, majority black people are dead and gone. Or be more because we run and left Guyana. But because God has keep the best for the last, and he keep WPA, and he keep Abinatu, that make it getting so much fighting down. But to the end, my black brother and sister over there, it is not too late to do the right thing. I'm saying over and over, AFC, a vote for AFC is a vote for PPPC. Run away from AFC. It's a disaster party that. Look the man in the ring. The man in the ring, we understand using it because he get numbers from program. I don't know on the street. And Ramdatan, it would not surprise me, Ramdatan, make him president candidate for AFC, forget black people confused, and or prime minister candidate. But at the end of the day, black people take it from Flash Garden. AFC cannot win PPP by themselves because Indian vote do not bust up. Only black man that bust up their vote. We should focus on two party now and give that two party a chance against WPA and PNC. We got to stop this war. I'm glad when Mr. David break out last night and he's going to talk this week and next week about poverty. We love that. Thank you very much for your time. Have a wonderful day. Last night, he's going to talk this week and next week.
The lines remain open. 6225933 is the number to call. You tune to the Guyanese Morning Time. I am your host, D. Buxtonian. Call you live. Good morning. Lines remain open. 62259.
Good morning.
Good morning, call you live.
His Excellency.
sir.
Yeah, I'm calling to find out a little away from today's discussion. If you can shed some light, you and David Hines and Professor Thomas can shed some light on we as young black professionals buying shares from ExxonMobil. If you can please shed some light on that.
Well, the only light I can shed on that, and I think they might very well tell you the same thing, ExxonMobil is a publicly traded company as far as I know on the U.S. Stock Exchange. I don't know if it's on the Guyana Stock Exchange. You know Guyana has a stock exchange?
Yeah, I'm quite familiar.
Right,
but
so
I'm in the process of... Go ahead.
I would believe anybody who has an interest in buying shares from Exxon would have to check on the stock exchanges. Or through the stock brokers to find out where they're available and the cost and so on, and just go ahead and buy like anybody else.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah, because I'm trying to pursue it, but I need some more knowledge and guidance. So that's why I'm reaching out to the art. Thanks so much. Have a good
You
day.
can also walk into the Guyana Stock Exchange. I remember I walked in there one time and inquired about things that I wanted to know, and they will provide you with guidance.
All right, have a good one.
You're welcome. The lines remain open 6225933. Anybody here is aware of I think GHK Lal was a Wall Street person. I can't say he was a stock trader, but I think GHK Lal was a Wall Street person, or is. So if anybody here with that kind of knowledge that you would like to share, bring it forth. Right, 6225933 is the number to call. You're tuned to the Guyanese Morning Time. I have a video to share with you. And I shared because when I looked at it, I say, this is Guyana for you. This is Guyana for you, especially with the bags of money. You might not be seeing it. You may have heard of it, or you're still waiting for the day when we'll be able to walk into some people's homes and pick up bags of cash that they have stolen from the citizens of this country. Look at this one.
And now let's shift our focus to Gabon. The all-new Game of Thrones. One family has been in power for decades, and now there's a coup, and people within the family seems to be pulling the strings. Let's get you the latest. A day after the coup, the arrests have begun. The new military leaders are going after the ousted president's family, Ali Bongo. The ousted president is still in detention, and now his son, Nuruddin Bongo Valentin, has also been picked up. This footage was released yesterday. Take a look at this. That's not a great look for the young Bongo. And a slight segue here. Why duffel bags stuffed with cash? It's 2023. You'd think they would turn to cryptocurrencies by now, or corrupt politicians incapable of moving away from suitcases full of cash. Of course, the young Bongo denied that it was all loot. Well, his cabinet director tried anyway. Listen to this.
C'est des fonds de campagne. Oui. Et combien? Je ne sais pas. Je ne sais pas s'ils ont dû compter, je ne sais pas. Une estimation? Je saurais vous dire. C'est des valises. Comme ça, je ne sais pas combien de valises contient, donc je ne peux pas vous dire. Je ne sais pas. Ça a été retrouvé dans quelle pièce de votre maison? Dans le choc, c'était dans le salon. Dans la pièce, au milieu. Est-ce que vous êtes banque pour justifier? Vous êtes une banque pour justifier ou pas? Non, non. Enfin, je ne vais pas rentrer dans... Si je comptais... C'est pas... Non.
They claim all that cash was campaign funds. Remember, this is days after the election took place in Gabon. Perhaps they want people to believe that they ran a thrifty campaign. Either way, the excuse has not worked. The young Bongo and his cabinet director have been arrested, as have others who were part of the Ali Bongo regime. Gabon's military leaders say they've seized both money and narcotics. And on the face of it, this seems like a good step by the coup leaders, but Gabon's political opposition has its doubts. We mentioned that an election took place on Saturday. The result was declared on Wednesday, that's 2 days ago. Ali Bongo was declared the winner, and within minutes of that declaration, he was detained. The military says that the election was fraudulent. And that's apparently why they stepped in. That's their excuse. But what about Gabon's political opposition? Ali Bongo's main opponent was this man, Albert Ondo Ossa. He was once an economics professor, but for years he's been part of Gabon's politics, even serving in the cabinet of former President Omar Bongo, Ali Bongo's father. In Saturday's election, he was the main opposition face, and he has his own theories about the situation that is unfolding.
We need to put things into context. First of all, it's not a coup d'etat, it's a palace revolution. General Brice Oligui Nguema is Ali Bongo's cousin. The campaign was 60 years of Bongo is too much. The Bongos found it necessary to put Ali Bongo aside and to effectively continue the Bongo PDG system. They put Oligui Nguema forward. We know who's behind Oligui Nguema. The Bongo system continues.
He believes that the new military president is a puppet, and the one pulling the strings is actually the ousted Ali Bongo's older sister.
Behind Oligui Nguema, there's no need to look. It's Pascaline Bongo who's there. That's all. So Oligui Nguema is an underling. Behind Oligui Nguema is Pascaline Bongo, and the Bongo clan continues in power.
The plot thickens. Pascaline is former President Omar Bongo's eldest child, officially anyway. She has served as foreign minister in her father's cabinet. She was then director of the cabinet till her father died, 2009. After that, when her brother Ali Bongo came to power, she was sidelined, and apparently the two share a frosty relationship. So the opposition leader Ossa believes that she has a hand in the coup. But this may be just a way to delegitimize the incoming military president. Gabon's opposition wants the military to declare Ossa as the winner of the last election.
We cannot ask the Gabonese people, who massively elected Professor Albert Ondo Ossa to be President of the Republic, to renounce their choice. This is unacceptable, and the people will not accept it. To understand this, we need to only look at where 14 years of illegitimate mandate has led us. Your courage and patriotism honor our country and our armies. By choosing truth and the ballot box, you are choosing the nation. The nation would be grateful to you.
It seems Ossa is taking the combative approach, and his fellow opposition leaders are trying to sweet-talk the military. Neither seems to be working. General Brice Oligui Nguema is set to be sworn in on Monday. He'll be sworn in as the president of the transition, but he still hasn't given a timeline for the transition back to democracy. Opposition leader Ossa has given a bleak assessment.
The Gabonese people took to the streets to welcome Bongo's departure. But I did say that they saw that it wasn't the Bongos who had left, but a Bongo who had replaced a Bongo. They're going to have to come back to reality.
So the visuals we began with, the raid and the duffel bags full of cash, are they a sign? Does the military promise a corruption-free future for Gabon? Or are they just an eyewash? A way to distract the public while the Bongo family settles personal scores? We'll find out in the days to come.
How many similarities have you recognized? The politics of puppetry, Irfanali Jagdio, corruption in government, bags of money stashed, people say it's campaign funds. How many of those ring a bell in dear land of Guyana? The lines remain open. 6225933 is the number to call. Let me see if they have voice notes. Yes, I see at least one.
Good morning, Kadaki. Today is the 5th day of September 2023. Was that an official Good morning, Kadaki. Today is the 5th day of September 2023. Was that an official
Good morning, Kadaki Amsterdam. Good morning, listeners and viewers. Kadaki, today is the 5th day of September of 2023. And was that official declaration that you will be running as president for Guyana?
You can't be running as president. I have to run for president. I'm calling you live. Good morning. Caller, you're live. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. After I hear the plain voice, no, that's why I didn't thing. Now when you listen to the insert that came over there, that tells you the same thing this install regime is doing, because they're looking to have a dynasty. They never come out of power. They part with money. You see how they die. The same, everything with them people doing over there is the same thing goes on in Guyana. And we have got to stop it. Now this thing with Rosedale Ford and what is going around. I could remember the other day when they had the PPP tried to snare Leader Norton with some blank check we signed and so. Don't mind the PPP engages in that, because this last emancipation, when people went to get their checks and thought they would have got to wait for the another emancipation, a lot of blank checks were already signed by the relevant persons, and all the people had to do look to see what was of how much funds was awarded to the different groups and put it in, but the checks were already signed. So I don't know if there is the same thing they claim North was doing. When the same matter came up, when it started to light like wildfire, the same leader, the same lawyer, Messina, somebody like that at your beck and call in this fraudulent country to clear you up. I don't think that people should continue to spew and light a fire that could cause such an enmity between these two great men of the party, that one of them said, well, I gonna go east and I gonna go west, because being apart from each other, I know we will suffer. And we must stop adding fuel. The same fuel that people are trying to light between Norton and Ford, they should light that between PNC and the fraudulent installed regime. And if they use the energies towards that area, it will be better served. And they must stop trying to fight down and look like if they are crabs in the barrel, because it don't look good outside. Whosoever lead, when the right time comes, we're going to look after them. We got a more prominent problem, because the other day, imagine all these protests that we're having outside our GCOM. Sarah Lynch is claiming that we should not wait at the last moment to fight for these things. Well, I don't know where Sarah Lynch been, because if we fighting for a clean voters list since the 2020 election, we carried through to the local government of this year. We cited problems where Barrett Jagdeo was using dead people. Barrett came out and acknowledged it. Yes, how we make mistake and stupidness. Why Sarah Lynch at the then time did not say, well, you know what? In order not for you to make mistake, I don't see God. I am insisting that y'all do a clean voters list, door-to-door registration, and for the elections, biometrics must be added for a proper election. That is where Sarah Lynch should come up. But don't say to us, who are protesting every Tuesday in front of GCOM that we are not asking for a clean voters list. We ain't looking after election. We looking after election. That is the only protest that is ongoing in this country. All right. Now, yesterday, I was out and about, and I met someone from utility service. I wouldn't name it. And the person called me up and said to me, Miss Rhonda, thanks for what you're doing. I as an individual would gladly join y'all out there. But the person said, should I go out and catch my face on camera? My life is over. I'm the breadwinner of my family. And to that individual, I will stand for you, child. I will stand for you. I understand the sentiments of being in a country where your voices must not be heard once you're African. And the next hallmark of the day, I was at home preparing to go out of service. And my neighbor called me, Rando, look somebody. So I saw a vehicle, but I didn't really like things. And lo and behold, when I got to the front, a man, it was a car with about 4 occupants. One of them, 2 of them, I think 3 of them are Guyanese living abroad. Mr. Ingram is living in England. He hails from Linden. And I didn't catch the young lady name. She is in Brooklyn. But they came all the way to look for me and to say thanks. And when you see people could come and make that way to come and get to know a person who is fighting for the rights of Guyanese, you do feel good. Some days I don't want to come out and protest. But when people like those people, Mr. Ingram and his team yesterday, they really made me feel good, and I am happy to come out and protest. Whether people come and see me or not. But Mr. Ingram, you cannot be here on a daily basis. But he said, you know what? I'm glad for the spirit. And we will try and we'll do our level best to encourage people like you and other stalwarts. So, protesters, I'll be there again today. Bye-bye, Kadaki, and thanks.
Thank you for your call, Rhonda.
Yeah.
It is now 21 minutes to the 9 o'clock hour. You tune to the Guyanese Morning Time. And whoever you be, Shivnat or whatever, watch yourself. You could get blocked soon. Right? Oh, I was responding to a voice note that was asking me if it's an official declaration of me campaigning or me running for the presidency of this country. I was responding to a question. I will remind you that I'm a member of a political party. I will remind you that I stand firmly behind coalition politics. And if me running for presidency means that we're not going to get coalition politics, then I'd rather support coalition.
A very happy Tuesday to you. Well, on the subject of you running for president, if Irfan with 19 fraud charges and all the things that he would say that sometimes doesn't make sense, if he can be the president, there is hope for you, because I know that you would do a much better job. Anyhow, moving along. I think that as Guyanese, sometimes we would just place our energies in the wrong direction sometimes, and it's so sad because I was privileged to listen to the Mark show, and all Ford did was answer question that was asked to him. So I think that, you know, as Guyanese, we should pick our fight sometimes. And the Professor Hines Professor Thomas was on Dr. Hines' show last night, and he posited that poverty, the flip side of poverty is deprivation. And I never really thought about it in that way. So, you know, if we were to look at this thing, it's good when the professionals can come on and give us the information and little lectures. It's very good, you know, it helps us to think deeper. So I'm encouraging folks to tune in and to listen to Professor Thomas and Dr. Hines. They're very important programs for us. And lastly, 81, and that was in Ghana with Jerry Rollins. He was a military officer, and they captioned it coup and reform. He was able to do a lot of reform for his country, and he served 2 terms as president, and it really did well for Ghana. So it's a lesson. They're not always bad, but I'm hoping that, you know, over the years we can produce some Jerry Rollins that would be able to fight for us and to see us go in the right direction. That's my little contribution, and you have a blessed day. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.
Thank you, Carla. You're welcome.
Right? The thing is, I'm also hearing about dissent within the party. I'm also hearing about how some of our members of parliament are behaving, irrespective of the fact that they're being paid to do the people's job. All I will say this morning, because I gotta run home, is if you do not want to be led, how do you expect to lead? I said it before. Perhaps somebody can tell us about the person who held that dinner in Melanie for Father's Day, and you will get your answers from there. People keep saying that we washing our linen in the public, but nothing is hidden. It's all out there. And these are the people who we expect to lead us. Ridiculous. You getting paid for taking care of the people's interests, not to be fighting among yourself for power, while the 49% or how much ever of Guyanese people are suffering. It tells me that you are very selfish. You're not interested in people. You're interested in fame and power and all that goes with it. Thank you.
Thank you for that voice note. The lines remain open. 6225933 is the number to call. You are tuned to the Guyanese Morning Time. Remember, if you're looking for nice fresh cuts of beef, chicken, pork, and so on, head over to the East Rheinbelt Market there at T&W Harris Butchery.
You put in a 12-cent meatball, you was the lice. I gonna give you a word of advice. Get your meat out my rice.
You can get meat anywhere, but for the best cuts of chicken, beef, pork, mutton, and lots more, check out T&W Harris Butcher Shop, located in the East Rheinbelt Market Meat section. Call us on 609-2049. Ask for Rastaman. T&W Harris Butcher Shop brings you the best in fresh cut meat. Now, since I announced that they're shaping up to do the road. They haven't paved a single section as yet. But they dug up a section and left it there. And the residents are in further stress. If you think it bad before, you were getting to use it, but now it dig up, you can't use it. That is an inadequacy. Voice note.
Good morning, Mr. Kadaki. Good morning to all the Guyanese people. I think we're giving the PPP government
too much respect by even addressing them and giving them that acknowledgement that that is a government. That's not a government, it's a buggerment. So please let's address them as who they are. This evil regime needs to be addressed in the proper manner. Please let's stop calling them the PPP government and let's address them as the PPP government. That's what they are. Thank you.
Thank you for your call. You know, sometimes I'm forced to call some people by name. And in shape not the same, put things in perspective. Abnu cannot control their own finances and currently bankrupt. How do you expect them to deal with the country's finances? And if they're fighting amongst themselves in opposition, how can they promote unity for the Guyanese people? The proof is in the pudding. Just check how the PPP leading by example. One guy all the way. Let me address you, Anand. Because I know you're done. You're intellectually lazy. So let me see if I could disabuse you of some of the ignorance you got. Let's start with unity and the APNU. The political party in recent times in this country that has fought the hardest to unify the Guyanese people and has led by example is a partnership for national unity. Do you remember under the APNU there was a Ministry of Social Cohesion? What did the PPP do with that ministry? Where has the Ministry of Social Cohesion gone? Where were all of the plans for social cohesiveness gone? Where are they? Where have they gone? Let me tell you what the PPP unity is about. Unity among themselves, nobody else. I lament, I say to you almost every opportunity I get, that right opposite me is Annandale. And 90% of the streets in Annandale are barricaded from entry from Buxton. 90% of them. Now if one can argue, call all the line please. If one can concerned about their safety and so they barricaded those streets, I want you to justify for me, several years after, 2 decades perhaps after, why those streets are still barricaded? And what kind of government allows private citizens to barricade streets and prevent others from using them? While the government and their operatives are quite aware of it happening. You know the streets that they did over Annandale? None of those streets were completed to the end. They all stopped short of the barricades. One street, a man got a Tennessee in the middle of the street, where he and his friends and family sit every afternoon. And the construction of the concrete street or concrete road stopped short of that. All the streets in Annandale have similar occurrences. And so you tell me about PPP wanting unity, and in 2023 streets are barricaded between an African Guyanese village and an Indo-Guyanese village? And then you need to take care out of the cesspit that it's in. Caller, you're live.
Hey, good morning, Kadaki. How are you doing this morning? Doing all right?
Oh, yeah, man. Give thanks.
Yeah, gotta give thanks. Kadaki, you know the hurtful part about this whole situation in Guyana is that it's a lot of stupid comments. So you think with Guyana is in the 21st century, but we're way behind. Very, very way behind, because up to now, you living in apartheid system. Don't seem to understand, or is either the backward or the behind time. Imagine when let's take for instance the Caribbean countries, Jamaica, Trinidad. You know, Guyana is the only country in the Caribbean that has a backward mentality, that has a backward system. And we have a long sense. And I have a feeling that a lot of them, like what is happening, the one the division, there can't be no one Guyana. How is it that you could have one Guyana? You're producing our country and the government thief, you know the money, and the poor man like me, the money is not trickling down to. So what one Guyana you could have? But these fools go around with the slogan one Guyana. I don't know this Guyana motto. I know one people, one nation, one destiny. I don't know about no one Guyana. But almost everybody talking about this one Guyana suits we got oil. But you're letting people come from India, the US, Canada, England, and all those other countries coming and benefiting. But you got this stupid slogan calling it one Guyana. What one? You got these fools. You got these old fools who trying to brainwash the youths. There can't be no one Guyana when everybody's not getting no equal opportunity. When you cast inside my black sisters and my black brothers, you find them out to teaching jobs and using them in the police force to kill our black sisters and brothers. So what one Guyana we speaking about? Guyanese people that has to wake up, especially the Africans, the black people has to wake up. Ain't nothing going on in Guyana. Guyana is as stagnant as ever. And they will continue being stagnant once they get this dictator, apartheid government in. Nothing is not going on in Guyana. That's my contribution this morning. You have a good morning.
Thank you for your call. Back to Anand. So show me unity or the love of unity or the want of cohesion. The PPP does. And so if you're saying to look and see how they're leading, I am seeing how they're leading. They're dividing the nation. Go to all of those areas where you have Indo and Afro-Guyanese villages side by side and you will see the evidence of the PPP's division. How the PNC can manage its own fund and it bankrupt. I would say they never had in the first place. Part of the problem with political parties in this country, is that they are always either depending on a foreign government or some foreign institution to fund them, or they're depending on business people to fund them. For the greater part, I don't know of political parties that have had... Call on the line. I don't know of local political parties that have had, what should I say, viable business enterprises around this country. That the profits from those enterprises can fund the political work of the party. I don't know of any. And let me remind you, the PPP was able to modernize Freedom House after they got into power in 1992. Check that one out. Freedom House was modernized after the PPP got into power. Where the money come from? The thief state funds. And they've been doing that since then. All the ministers and operatives have been stealing state funds. And so they got enough money to put into the kitty to maintain the party. With all the accusations we've made against the PNC, past and present, I have not seen much evidence to suggest that they have been accurate. Call it live. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. When we people are trying to differentiate the coalition government that available to them at the time and what these people have been right about now, that is a very, 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 that's like 90% of this whole argument, right? The resources. They had a fraction of what these people are having right about now to their possession. So do the math. So the difference should be even more bigger than this right about now, which in the difference in regards to development should be one-sided to the PAP right about now. But it's not, because of the greed and the hunger and the hatred for certain people. Thank you.
Thank you for your call. Keep shifting the goalposts, Anand. Freedom House is a private property. It belongs to a political party. The state buildings that were painted green, according to some of y'all, is state property. As if state funds were used to paint state property, there is no crime in that. It's when you teach state funds to paint private property, there's where the problem there. And the PPP is guilty of that. Y'all forget the PPP and government covered Red House? State property. You can't talk to me about credibility in government, sir. Call it life. Good morning.
Yeah, I want to put some Guyanese on some game, all right? You guys keep beating down on Norton for taking donation and contributions. Listen, that's how it's done in America. America's a rich country. And you know how these guys get money?
Caller, let me stop you.
Go ahead.
Who beating down on Norton for taking contributions and donations?
I hear somebody calling, talking about that.
Well, I didn't hear it. Go ahead.
All right. Now, that's how it's done. You get the money from the people. You get the money from the business people. Now, the business people, they are limited how much they can donate and they can contribute. But that's how you do it. So I wish some of the callers, I'm not saying you, some of the callers would stop talking about Norton asking for money and contribution. Where else he's going to get the money from? You get it from your supporters. All right, that's how it's done. So it's just a short comment I want to, because I constantly hearing people saying that. I got congressmen. I got Biden. I got messages from Biden, from Akeem Jeffrey, a whole host of Democratic members. That's what they do. They call, they send you email messages, and the thing with them, it becomes so ridiculous. It's constant. Once you start donating, oh my God, the emails keep coming. They don't. I think it's computer generated though, right? Because the emails keep coming. They want and they want and they want. So
think on that. Think about all we discussed. Think about how we can move this country forward. Think about how we can unify this nation. Think about how we can unify or unite to get rid of this wicked and vindictive, corrupt, thieving cabal named the PPP. Good? And I also want you to think about how you can help some people who are intellectually lazy.